Well, let's start with our first management on the show, that is Saatvik Green. Now, of late, the company has announced steady flow of new orders, including module supply contract worth nearly 486 crore rupees and an additional solar pumping system project worth nearly 30 crore. My colleague Varsha spoke to Prashant Mathur, the CEO of Saatvik Green. Listen into that conversation.
Saatvik Green Energy is in focus today. Now, this is after company winning back-to-back orders. But to speak more about the outlook and what lies ahead for next 2 to 3 years, I'm here joined by Mr. Prashant Mathur, who is the CEO at Saatvik Green Energy. Mr. Mathur, welcome at NDTV Profit. Always pleasure to have you. Recently you have won multiple orders. Now, what your order book looks like? What is the status of your order book as of today?
Good morning, and thanks for welcoming me. So our order book as on September 30th was 4.68 gigawatt. Our current manufacturing capacity is 4.8 gigawatt. So we are almost booked for the next 1 year. Many orders in this quarter have been executed and new orders have added, as you would have seen in the media releases as well. We'll be releasing our order book during our results for this quarter and give you an update on our order book.
Mr. Mathur, after your cell capacity comes online, what is the incremental or increase in EBITDA margin you're expecting? Because I believe the cell capacity most of this will be used for your captive consumption, which should aid your margin. So what are the margin targets, EBITDA margin targets that you're expecting, and from when?
So our cell manufacturing is well on track. Though we have in our RHP committed January or last quarter of next financial year, but we are ahead of our project timelines, and we are very confident that by the beginning of the second half of next financial year, we will be starting our commercial production for cell production. The EBITDA, though right now the EBITDA margins are really good on the cell, but new cell capacities are coming in, and we are expecting about 4 to 5% incremental EBITDA in our books. And yes, because most of it will be consumed internally, so it's not going to directly reflect in the top line, but it is going to reflect in the bottom line.
Okay, so 4 to 5% of incremental EBITDA margin you're expecting. So if I were to talk, so in March 2025, so your EBITDA margins were around 10%. Though they have decreased from 2024, but maybe in next 2 years you're expecting EBITDA margin to be around 14%. Am I right?
Our EBITDA margin actually has been 16%. 10% was the PAT. So 16% EBITDA margin, but our numbers, what we feel is that ideally 13% EBITDA margin is in pure modules business, and that's what we have given in our prospectus as well. With the cell coming, with a blended margin will be about 18%.
Understood. So 18%, got that view. Also, Mr. Mathur, you're also entering into inverters, EPC and pumps. What is the revenue mix that you're expecting, considering the modules and all these new areas that you're entering? What investors should expect when it comes to business mix or product mix in next 2 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you see the kind of direction which we are taking as a company, we are backward integrating, we are forward integrating, we are also getting into new businesses or allied streams in our existing business. So recently we have started our encapsulant plant. So it's a 2 gigawatt EPE manufacturing, which gives us control on our supply chain. Again, it's a strategic move. It gives us better control on the quality. It's most of the EP is imported, so it's more on the Atmanirbhar theme as well. We are also getting into cell manufacturing. Ingot and wafer is also on the horizon, which we will be declaring more details on it very soon. Inverter, EPC, pump business. We are also taking projects with battery, BESS projects. We'll be soon also getting into battery as a product. So these are all the businesses which are well aligned to what we already do. After module, inverter is the biggest and the most important product of a project, and both in terms of value and in terms of importance. So these are all the products which will help us. If you see this year, it's going to be about 5% of our revenue, but we are targeting next year will be about 15% non-module sales.
Understood. So 15% is the target. Got that view. Also, sir, you've expanded into North America earlier. How do exports fit in your medium-term revenue mix?
So export, we are still, doing exports, but it's more on FOB and ex-works term, because we don't want to take the risk on the duties, and the tariffs are kind of not fixed. India-US trade agreement earlier was supposed to be in this quarter, but now it's shifted to around February. So once that happens, we will be pursuing the North America market. We still are doing small transactions. It's about 1%, less than 1% of our business. So our foot is in the door. As soon as the tariff issues are resolved, we'll be back in North America market. But if you see this year, already India market is almost doubling than what it was last year. So we have already done about 27 gigawatt AC, which is about 35, 37 gigawatt DC. And it's the last quarter is normally very strong. So in all probability, I feel it's going to be above 50 gigawatts. So India itself is a very strong market. We being an Indian company, our focus is India foremost. And then we'll look at other markets if it makes business sense and it gives value to the investors as well.
Right. And also, Mr. Mathur, so if you see in the last 3 years, the revenue CAGR has been more than 60%. Will you be maintaining this growth? What are the growth targets that you have set for, the remainder of the year, that is for FY26 and 27 and 28?
Difficult to give a forward-looking target, but what we can say is that this year we are already, if you see even the first 2 quarters, we have grown 133% year on year. So we continue to grow this year. I cannot give the number, but our past tells us about the future, and our past we have grown at a CAGR of about 88%, and we will continue to grow at this pace for the next couple of years as well, is what we are targeting.
Understood. And also, sir, lastly, rather my last 2 questions would be, one is, the talk of the town is the renewable PPAs. If you see, they're getting stuck or delayed. Any impact on Saatvik Green as of now, if you could, update us?
Look, renewable projects, they can be stuck because the PPAs, the off-taker does not want to sign on it. There has been GST reduction, so it happens that the GST impact is ultimately it's a cost because you don't have an output when you sell energy. So the end customer would want that benefit to be passed on to it. So those things are there. Then transmission issues, land issues. So these are all inherent risks which are involved in this business. And it is not new. It has happened in the past as well. But there is enough demand in the market that even if 1 or 2 or few projects get delayed, there are enough projects which are ongoing. That there's always demand in the market, And once those land and PPA issues get resolved, that also comes on stream, maybe about a 6 months, 1 year delay. But there's enough demand in the market that it does not really affect us as a manufacturer.
Well, that was the management of Saatvik Green, very confident of posting strong growth going forward. But before we move on to our next small cap stock, let's get in Sharath first to understand the F&O market.